Whenever you're ready.
Hey guys, Darien Nelson-Henry here to talk to you about men's mental health and just giving my viewpoint on how sport and physical activity can help impact that. Just to start off, to introduce myself, I'm from the United States, from Seattle, Washington. Been playing basketball my whole life, and this will be my 5th season professional overseas. Went to school in the States, University of Pennsylvania, so that's a little ways away from home, and obviously that and being in Europe away from my family has its own set of challenges, but we'll get into that in a bit. First I want to talk about how mental health can be impacted by physical activity and different aspects of that. So I know, speaking for myself, playing basketball is a great outlet for me. When you're lifting, training, in practice, running, doing whatever you got to do for that, it's just a time where you can separate from everything else that's going on in your life, everything that's in the outside world, and really take a step back and just have your own time to focus on something that you enjoy doing. That's 2 hours a day where you can kind of decompress. Maybe you're playing rugby, maybe you're playing like soccer, football, or something like that, and like you get to hit somebody, you get to, chop it up, like chat with your boys, so it's a good time to build camaraderie. It's a good time to let out some little bit of stress, stuff like that. So I know for me, that's like the 2 hours a day I look forward to most, and it can really help you. But that being said, there's also mental challenges that have come with the profession that I chose, which is playing men's basketball. And that's the fact that I touched on earlier, being away from my family, being away from my friends. I can't even remember the last time I spent Christmas with my family. It's been 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. Missing all the birthdays, missing like the birth of some of my cousins and nieces and nephews and stuff like that, So it's tough. And one thing that you just have to remember is when you choose the path of your life, you have to take the positives from it just as you take the negatives. And I try and do that with basketball all the time. One example of that would be a little bit of the anxiety that comes with playing professional basketball. Every season I'm on a new contract. There's doubts in my mind. Am I going to find a new team? Am I going to get re-signed to the same team? Am I going to have to go home? Have I set up for the future? And there's all these questions that you're asking yourself, and you know that you're prepared, and you know that you've put in the work, and that you have set yourself up to be successful in your chosen field, but at the same time, there's always this uncertainty, and that can lead to you questioning like all the decisions that you've ever made. You just have to have confidence in yourself and really just ensure that you do the best to put yourself in positions to succeed. And it's always easier said than done. You're always second guessing yourself. That's an issue I have with myself all the time. And I think that just talking it out with people, speaking to people, getting things off your chest is the best way to do that. When I look at who has helped me and how I'm able to communicate with those people, I would obviously say my family, and my girlfriend is a great outlet for me. But then my friends and family back home, they do a great job with that. It's getting harder now with COVID. I haven't been able to see them in about 2 years because I didn't see them for some time leading up, and then I stayed in England for the lockdown. I wasn't able to go back home. So just having that time away from them, I thank God every day for technology and how that has affected my ability to stay in contact with my people back home. And it's tough, when you're thinking about, is this the right decision? Did I do something that I won't be able to come back from? You just have to give them the call, reach out to them, say, hey, this is what's on my mind. And maybe they don't give you the answer that you want to hear. Sometimes my mom begs me to come back home. And that's how moms are, right? But you just have to know that, like, hey, I'm getting these positive life experiences out of this. I'm working a job that I love every single day, and I can still stay in contact with these people, and I'll get to spend time with them at a later date, or maybe they'll get to come over here and I'll get to show them a good experience in my life. So building on that and talking about how COVID has affected me, I'll just use another cliche that I used earlier in this discussion, and that's the fact that you have to try and find the positives in everything. I think it actually annoys my girlfriend how much I do that, because it doesn't matter what can happen. Like, I'll step in dog poop on the sidewalk and I'll be like, at least it's not there for anyone else to step in. You know what I mean? So you just have to find like these positives in anything that you do. And so when you look at COVID, a lot of people ask me, how did you spend it? Was it hard as an athlete? Were you able to keep training and blah, 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 blah? Yeah, absolutely. You find the positives in everything. So I actually doubled down on training. What else was I doing over COVID? So I was working out every single day at my house. You'd be surprised what you can do when you're at home by yourself. We had awesome workout plans sent to us, and we were able to go on runs. And then another thing is I was able to focus on my diet tremendously. So I really got down in the kitchen. I was spending like 2 hours in there chefing up like crazy. And when you're able to focus on your diet like really intently, and you're not trying to get a quick meal here and there before obligations, it can really affect you. So that's another thing that I would say can absolutely impact mental health, is your diet. If you're eating well and you're exercising and you feel good about yourself, that confidence can carry over to so many other things in your life. If you are eating greasy, bad foods, and you feel lackadaisical, it makes you feel gross, that can transfer over into like how you interact with other people, and then that in turn can affect your mental health, because you second guess, oh, why did I act this way towards that person, or like, what was the reason behind this? And honestly, at the end of the day, you can trace it back to these little tiny things that happen to you throughout your day, which can have an immediate impact on you. So yeah, COVID, you can feel a little bit isolated, you can feel a little bit I don't know, unsure about your future and uncertain, but if you take the positives, instead of thinking about how unsure you are about your future, maybe just like read a book and expand your knowledge, so that when normality returns, you're able to have deeper discussions with people, or you know, like study up on something that you're interested in. There's all these little things that you can do that can help take yourself out of this cyclical like downward spiral and like flip it into a different direction. And just, I urge you to find something that you're passionate about and go from there, you know? Yeah, and so the final aspect I wanted to touch on real quick is just how tough it is sometimes for guys to admit, like, I'm not okay right now, and like I need some help from somebody. And I definitely experienced that a lot of times in my life. You know, sometimes it's hard to reach out to your family or to friends, and I absolutely understand if you guys feel that way, because I felt that way too many times myself. But you just have to remember, everybody's not okay sometimes. And if somebody seems like they got it together, they probably don't have it as together as you think they do. They're just putting on a little face. So, yeah, I mean, if you can just wrap your mind around that, it's like the same as like teachers saying in class, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions, because chances are someone else has the same question as you, they're just too afraid to ask it. Ask your questions, man. Do it. Talk to somebody. Reach out. Somebody that's close to you, or, you know, sometimes the best advice that I've gotten is from people I'm not close with. If you're open and transparent with people, you can get really genuine feedback from people who you wouldn't expect it from. And sometimes it's the most insightful because they're not biased on your situation. Another thing that's helped me is when I was younger, when I was in high school, I saw a psychologist, and it was extremely helpful. You could just sit down with somebody for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, and get things off your chest in a non-judgmental way. It can make a load of difference. My mom was an elementary school counselor, so my parents were never married. They were separated my whole life, so naturally a handful of problems came of that. And yeah, just being able to go talk to somebody who didn't have a stake in the race made a really big difference for me. And I know that a lot of people who I've spoken with who have had similar experiences to me say the same thing. No matter what you do, just remember, take the positives out of everything. It's okay to say you're not okay, and please seek help if you need it. Get things off your chest, stay active, stay healthy, and just try and remain open-minded about everything, guys. I hope you take care, and happy November.